is the sound of redemption. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. Igniting the fire within you. Exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness. And let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise
Accountability
together.
starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shout it loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Good morning. Good morning.
And you guys see what I see. Diane L. Murray Clements. Hey, Diane, you look like you're in a forest.
She's in her back to nature mood.
I guess.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Thank you. It wasn't so sunny today, so I was able to change my angle because usually it's too sunny in here. You know, you get that sun glare.
Yeah, it's nice out,
She
right?
does.
That little
She does have that. She does kind of have that Mother Nature look.
She does, doesn't she?
Yeah,
Like,
regal.
I want to see some butterflies flying around her and some ladybugs and stuff like that.
A couple of angels playing the harp. Oh.
Hey, Diane, do you have knolls in your garden?
No.
Why?
Those things are racist.
They're racist.
Mm-hmm.
Why is a knoll racist?
Don't look like us.
That doesn't make it racist, Diane.
I'm with Diane.
Same reason
That
I don't have
knoll
them
is
little
racist?
children in my yard and those little what else do they have? The little trolls and all
The
those things.
gargoyles and the different. You don't have any of those?
No, I have butterflies and ladybugs,
Okay.
stuff like that.
Oh,
So how you doing, Vincent?
I'm doing fine. How you guys doing?
Hey, man, I can't. Listen. Another day, Vincent. I just look. You gotta laugh, man. I was so exhausted yesterday after the show, and I don't know if you saw, Diane. I was petering out, like with about a half an hour left to go, and thank goodness Farrakhan has some real substantive things to talk about, and I was just able to just kind of hang in there. There was one point where, because of numbness in my feet, I kicked over the lamp, and then I had to exit stage left to pick my phone up off the floor. I was completely discombobulated. But I am alive and well and full of energy today. I think I can go the whole distance. At least that's my attempt.
That's good. That means you had breakfast or one of those smoothies or something this morning.
I had a smoothie, and then I had some juice. I had a half a cup of coffee. Didn't have time to, have breakfast, but I was eyeballing some poached eggs over a salmon cake. Yeah.
That's different. Okay.
That's different. That's delicious.
Yeah, I've never had it over a salmon cake. I've had it over burgers. Burgers is good.
Yeah, no, over a salmon cake. And
I've had it over salmon.
You have or haven't?
Have had it over salmon cake. Yeah.
And then you know what? If you wanna get really cool with it, Diane, if you got some grits, right? Just make a small bed of grits, not a big heaping thing, right? Just a small bed, and then you plate the salmon cake on top of that. Then you put see Vincent's about to fall out his seat right now. Vincent's like,
oh man, I'm about to go to the kitchen right now.
Yeah, you do it like that, Diane, and then make that fresh bread that we talked about, and that's put some orange marmalade or some apricot preserve on there. Yeah,
that'll get you to dinner.
That's absolutely right. That'll be it.
But I'm gonna keep it real. In my house growing up, we didn't have salmon cakes. We had mackerel.
Oh, hey, listen. Well, and see, I have my family that listens to the show. I will say, I was always privileged. And not privileged because of money, but privileged because of love, privileged because my parents were together, all right, privileged because I had my grandparents, you know what I mean? Like I had my whole family. I still, at 57 years old, I still have a grandmother alive. I mean, that's privileged. Do you know how privileged it is for me to go and sit with my 97-year-old grandmother and listen to her talk about history? Right? And so, but we didn't have salmon, we didn't have mackerel, we didn't know what that was, man. We had hoghead cheese. We had, come on now. See,
you had the leftover fish that the guy car last
We had
the day
hog-head
before.
cheese.
The
We had
fish man,
scrapple.
yeah.
Now, I didn't eat that stuff, but that's what was there. You know, my father had converted to Islam. I was living with my grandmother, and she was trying to get me to eat that stuff, man. That scrapple, that hog-head cheese. I can't.
You scrapple? Who don't like scrapple?
Who don't like scrapple?
Me. Me. I don't like it. You know, I remember tasting it before my dad became Muslim, and I also remember, and I still, which is crazy, right? I still can tell you what hog-head cheese tastes like.
I didn't particularly like hog-head cheese.
I never had it.
Yeah. And then what was the other thing that
Pickle pig. Did you eat that?
pickled pig feet?
Mm-hmm.
No.
You never had pickled pig feet?
Never had pickled pig feet. Never had hog maws and chitlins.
You never went to a bar and had the pickled pig feet?
Never went to a bar. Never went anywhere and had pickled pig feet. Never had hog-head cheese. I mean, I'm sorry. Never had what was it? Hog maws and chitlins. What are hog maws?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The intestines.
No, that's a chitlin.
Well, when I was in France, there was this big black woman in the restaurant that had all the movie stars, and everybody lined up at night to get their chitlin and hog maw. And this was during the early mid '80s, and that was a $40 a plate dinner, and it was worth every penny.
Yeah, you can't eat chitlins and that kind of stuff out. Got to be really careful about that stuff because people don't clean it as they should. Is my picture frozen? Video frozen, Eric? Or is that just me?
Oh no! You know why? Actually, I realized I can't. So I'm gonna unfreeze you. What? There you go. Yeah. So what? What happens is I'm so used to not having. Hey. Is that the robot? Oh no, that's Vogue. Remember?
That's voguing.
That's voguing, right? Yeah. No. I'm used to looking at the feed when I don't have a video on. Then I can go to the social media feed and see what people are saying. But anyway, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Vincent, you said that you and Diane, I still didn't get to see the video of the young man that got shot and killed in the back.
You're kidding. You haven't?
I have not seen it. But Diane described it, and Farrakhan called in and described it. So my understanding now, based on the description, is that this man tussled with the police, that then he grabbed
His taser.
Well, so we call it a taser, but they still refer to it as a sidearm.
Or a stun gun.
Right. So it's still
tomatoes, yeah.
Right. So it still is a sidearm to them. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he
grabbed it in a tussle.
Grabbed it in a tussle, and then attempted to flee. And upon fleeing, turned around, pointed it at.
No, he didn't turn around.
Yes, he did.
No, he reached back. He reached his arm back.
You'd have to, in order to turn around or reach your arm back, you have to turn around.
So let me ask you a question. So you're saying that he never turned his eyes backwards? He just pointed.
No. Yep, never turned it. He kept running.
He turned around. He shot the cop who fell to the side on the other car, and then the other cop shot him.
Oh wait! So he actually hit his mark with the taser?
That's what it looks like in the video that I saw yesterday.
Does it look like he tased the cop?
Well, the cop did show last night on CNN. They did show bruises.
Okay. So wait a minute. So then he assaulted a police officer with a sidearm that he removed from an officer after physically assaulting them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right? Well, first they woke him up.
No. We can get to the woken up stuff. I just want to. So he had. he engaged in a physical altercation with the police officer, at which point, this is Farrakhan calling, I know it is.
The start from the front from the video and
Give me a
Farrakhan
second.
correct.
Call a police hold.
Well,
So wait a minute. Just let me get the chronology correct. And then we can go back to them engaging him from the very beginning in the car, because then I got information about how that happened, right? But once they engaged him, whatever transpired led to a physical altercation between him and police officer.
well, they gave him a field sobriety,
Okay.
in which he failed.
Right.
He did not. So from that point, the officer did not say that you were under arrest or that you failed the test and I have to take you in. He grabbed him, and that's where the altercation began.
Okay. Got it. So the officer initiated, right? We could even say the officer may have escalated in grabbing him, right? At the point that he grabbed him, then this physical encounter escalated, right?
Right. So that's two police officers on one drunk black man.
No. Got it. And then this drunk black man, during the altercation, took possession of one of the police officers' sidearm, right?
Well, before you get to that, one of the police officers, during the course of the altercation, went for his taser.
Okay.
That's where, and he began to point it at him to shoot it. He grabbed him. He rolled over.
Wait a minute, you're using pronouns. He being...
Who is he?
Which one is the he?
Okay, now, the Rayshard Brooks, the victim, grabbed the officers who pulled out his taser. He grabbed the officer fell down. He rolled over
Let me ask you a
him
question.
with
I'm
the taser
stopping
in his
you for a
hand.
second now. Do you believe, let's go step by step through this. Do you believe that at the point that the one officer sees his partner engage in a physical altercation with someone who is inebriated, right? That officer, that the partner should have unholstered his taser?
No.
Okay, so what do you believe should have happened as the officer is watching his partner engaged in fisticuffs with an inebriated man?
Well, you see, I believe it should not have escalated
No,
to
but
that
it did.
point.
But it did. I'm saying, so whatever happened, it escalated there. So now the partner is watching his partner, and now let's understand this too, right? We don't know if alcohol. I mean, well, now we might know, but certainly those officers didn't know whether it was simply alcohol. He could have been coked up. He could have had PCP. He could have had any number of things, right? And those drugs do what to you? They enhance your strength. So now I'm going to ask you again. If you're the officer and you're not clear, you know that this person is not in his right mind. That's the most you know. And this person is now engaged in fisticuffs with your partner. What do you do?
Well, you're supposed to assist your partner, which
Okay.
he did.
Well, he pulled out his taser.
Well, no, he tried to wrestle him down, and then he decided to pull out his taser.
Okay.
So it was two of them
So,
wrestling.
watch the video now. They
Okay, can I? Hello, am I there? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Good
but
morning.
I wanna get-
Good morning, Eric Dawson Radio Show.
But I want to get through this with Vincent. Hold tight. Farrakhan's like that horse, right? Just waiting to get out the gate.
Get ready to get out the gate.
I hear it rattling. Hold on. Just hold your horses for one more second, Farrakhan. So you said you're watching the video, Diane?
I'm watching the video.
Uh-huh.
I'm exact from beginning to end. It's like a 10-second video.
Right.
What you see is 2 officers
Mm-hmm.
and the victim.
Okay.
And 3 or 4 cars that are still in line at the Wendy's drive-thru.
Right.
The victim runs past the second car. The police officer's behind him. The victim turns around and tases him.
Wait, when you say turn around, do you actually see him turn around?
Yes.
You see the taser light up.
And and the officer falls to the side of the car.
Wait. Okay, stop for 1 second. Vincent, do you dispute that the officer was tased? That the officer fell to the side of the car?
No,
Okay.
I do not dispute that.
Okay.
But we're not going to go back and forth. He turned around. He shot at him. He fell to the side of the car, continued to pursue. The second officer came up behind him because he had already shot him. He fell. And then that's when the ending of the video is now them standing over top of him.
Got it.
Okay, now is that the police? Is that the Wendy's security camera that you're looking at? She has to be looking at the Wendy's security camera. Right. Okay. Now, see, I know all of this by heart. I have been watching this, as y'all know, from the day I have 20 video angles of this. Okay. Now, let's be clear. As to the tasering part, right? As you will see in that video, the police officer is chasing Mr. Brooks. As he is chasing Mr. Brooks, he also has his taser out. Okay? Because he's not. And what I'm saying to that is there is no intent to kill him. Hear me.
Stop right here. Does has his taser out. When the victim turns around and shoots the officer's taser falls and rolls to the ground.
Right. He drops it. Okay, he drops it. He drops it to reach for his service weapon, his gun, his revolver. So that not revolver. It's a 9mm. Yeah, right. Yeah, 9mm Glock to be exact. He pulls his gun now because he's been fired upon. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now understand, as you saw in this video, and I don't have the video with me. I have it memorized in my head. All right. At the moment in which he grabs his gun, okay, or grabs his sidearm to begin the shooting, there is approximately, I believe, 3 seconds in the difference between him grabbing his sidearm and firing at the person that had just fired him. The reason I'm saying this is because I put this up last night. If you look at the way the police officers have been charged, they were charged, in my view, deliberately to be able to be acquitted. They had to. This is a dog and pony show, y'all. Okay. If you look at Georgia law, which I put on my page, okay, for a police or for anyone to be convicted of felony murder, okay, it would mean that they committed an act of dangerous felony based on the intent of malice, okay, in killing a person. Okay, there is no intent to that. He did not in any way. Listen, really, I'm giving you the Georgia code, penal code. I'm not making this up. This is Georgia penal code. Georgia does not classify first-degree murder, second-degree murder. In Georgia, any killing with malice or killing without provocation is murder. Which basically means you intend to kill him, correct? No. Okay? Without malice means an intention or desire to cause harm, bodily harm, or property damage to another, unlawful or wrongful act without justification. There is justification. The justification will be that he was fired upon. He was, okay, hold it. Well, freeze right there. Go ahead. Go ahead. Now, I am not disputing the fact that he fired the taser. Now, according to police code, and our friend who's a police officer will listen. If he's listening, I hope he calls in and verifies this point. The point of the police code is to match the aggression with the exact amount. No, sir. Wait, no, sir. Let me finish.
Okay, wait. Guys.
Can you let me finish? Can you let me finish? Can you let me finish?
Yeah, you gotta let him finish.
Wait a minute. Okay, now let me finish.
You gotta let him finish.
He had a taser in his hand. The guy fired his taser. He decided not to match the same aggression with his taser. He decided to drop it and go for his sidearm.
Don't
So
yell.
he decided to drop it and go for his sidearm. That is an attempt to cause bodily damage because you do not shoot to maim, you shoot to kill.
All right, but we got
Nobody's
okay.
saying that.
So let's do two things.
We're not questioning whether or not the officer intended to cause bodily harm.
Right.
You're questioning whether or not he returned fire because he was under the threat of bodily harm.
Right.
Yes, when the taser was fired at him, he was under threat of bodily harm.
All right, listen.
Which meant he could
so
use...
let me clarify
Guys,
what I'm
all right, so here's what I'm going to say.
Let me clarify. Wait a minute.
None of us
what
are
I said.
lawyers.
I'm watching the video again.
None of
And
us
the
are...
video shows the reason why he didn't fire his gun and his taser is now no longer in his hand is, I'm sorry, he didn't fall into the car. He ran into the rear of the car. And as he ran into the rear of the car, the taser fell out of his hand and went to roll. So he didn't forcefully throw his taser on the ground and say, oh, now I'm going to pull for my gun. He didn't do that.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is this. We're all interpreting the law, right? And the jury will interpret the law and be charged by the judge when they go to deliberate, right? So that's all going to happen. We're all offering what our opinions are based on our reading of the Georgia Penal Code. Here's where I am on this thing. I think that you can't assault a police officer and just expect that. Well, I'm gonna put it like this. When I was a kid, right? I used to antagonize my big brothers, and I would hit them, right? And then they would punch me, right? And then I would cry, and then I would go and tell my father that they punched me, and then they would say, "Well, Eric hit me," and I said, "But I didn't hit him that hard." He said, "But you hit him." Right? So you hit him, and now you expect him to hit you as hard as you hit him. No, once you hit him, you opened up that can of whoop ass. So now the police officer, so what Vincent is saying is, well, if the guy threw a rock that was 2 centimeters, then the police officer could only throw a rock that's 2 centimeters. If the guy decides to do this, no, I don't believe so. I believe what happens, this is my belief, that if the officer feels, well, a couple things, feels threatened, and not only does he feel threatened, but he feels that there is an imminent threat to the people around him. So now this guy is running. He has no idea, outside of just him, he has no idea what this guy might do to anybody he encounters as he's fleeing. He's got a duty to protect all of those individuals.
Can you? But now, can I tell you? Can I rewind it for a second? Because I came in a little after you guys. Here's the problem: the officer, apparently by Georgia or Atlanta police codes, right? You must tell a person before you put the handcuffs on them that you are arresting them. Correct. And he did not do that. He failed to do that. What he did do, he looked at him after he had said enough things, right? 40 minutes, right, of conversation. He says, "I think you're too drunk to drive, or you are too intoxicated to drive." I can't remember the exact quote. It's either you're too drunk to drive or too intoxicated to drive. Then he reached around and said, "Give me your hand." He never said you were under arrest. This is where he's going to fail. By not saying he was under arrest, now Rayshard Brooks that has right to defend himself. That sparked the escalation. Now that's where they're going to say that sparks the escalation in which Rayshard Brooks was never told he was under arrest for anything. And so, if I could, so now it's a fight. Because now you're touching me, and you have no business touching me because you ain't said I'm under arrest yet. Correct.
This is where the defense will protect him. Now, the problem, again, hold up, Vincent.
Okay.
You know,
I'm
got 2
waiting.
hours here.
No, I'm waiting.
Okay? Now,
I'm gonna wait.
where the argument becomes is Georgia's penal code, which is 16-5-1, murder, felony. A person commits the offense of murder when he unlawfully and with malice, a forethought with malice, either express or implied causes the death or harm to another human being. And B, express malice is that deliberate intention unlawfully to take the life of another being which is manifested by external circumstances capable of proof. Malice shall be implied where, let me finish, bro. Okay? Malice shall be implied where no considerable provocation and where all circumstances of the killing show abandoned and malignant heart. Now, that's the problem for the prosecution. Because they're going to say there was provocation. You shot a taser at me. Again, though, the argument will be whether or not he should have been arresting him without saying, I'm arresting. And that's where this case is going to lie. That's where this man will be either convicted or acquitted. And that's the conversation we should have.
And the prosecution is going to do exactly what Eric said. They're going to say that to the exact. Now, here's the defense upon that. Now, here we have a drunk man who just basically out-wrestled 2 police officers. And you're looking at the simple fact that he decided to now, once he saw it, instead of matching the force that was given to him, the man who was running drunk, he knew that he had no other weapon. He knew that the man was fleeing. He knew that the man was drunk. Most people with common sense say, okay, you let him run, and then you pick him up a couple of blocks down the way. But also,
Wait a minute,
you gotta not interrupt.
No, that taser was fired. It's a one and done thing. The next thing you look at is wait.
Because you said 30.
No. It's a two-in-one thing. See, come on. Because you
can't ask him to let you finish and then you interrupt.
Wait a minute. After he
Don't yell.
loaded 3 shots,
Don't yell.
2 of them landed. Okay, after he landed,
Wait a minute.
after he shot 3
stop.
times.
Can we do this? Because I don't want to keep saying don't yell. Can we
Okay.
have a conversation? I don't want to do this every show. Can we just have a conversation without yelling and talking over each other? Can we do
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
So can I finish then, please?
Yeah, but don't yell. Don't
Okay,
yell.
so to prove the intent of malice, the defense will simply say he unloaded 3 shots, 2 of them landing into Mr. Brooks. One of them and another guy who was a witness, it landed in his car. After the 3 shots, he decided to go over to the man after he was down, kick him, then wait 2 minutes for him to bleed out to call in the incident, and then decided to pick up. Yes, he did. 2 minutes. They documented it. 2 minutes.
Go ahead.
And then he went back to pick up his shells, tampering with the evidence of the distance between the shots.
Now, can I respond to that? Everything you just said in that last section was dead wrong. Okay, he did not wait. He waited 2 minutes to give any medical aid to the man, not to call it in. They called it in instantly. Okay, for one, right? That rumor that they picked up shells is a total lie. You have not heard that. You did not hear that yesterday from the prosecutor because that's not true. That's not what he picked up. He picked up his taser. Okay, he picked up his the body cam, which was on the ground. They never picked up any shells. Those are lies completely. Okay, that's why I didn't hear. Can I ask you one question?
Don't
Go
overtalk.
ahead. Let me finish.
Well, you're done.
So that none of that happened. Okay, he did not wait 2 minutes to call it in. He waited 2 minutes to give any medical attention. Okay, yes, there will be argument whether or not he kicked him. It looks like he kicked him. I would say maybe he was trying to roll him over. It looks like, but the still picture looked like he kicked him. But when you see it in motion, it looks like he moved him with it. There's a difference, right? It looks like he moved him with it. Like, you know how police don't touch you once they've shot you and you're down on the ground, they just put handcuffs on you and let you die. Okay, so that's going to be the argument for that. No, he didn't kick him. Now go ahead.
Well, let me ask you this question. If you put 2 slugs into somebody and you wait 2 minutes to give medical attention, isn't that an attempt to let him die?
Not necessarily according to Georgia law. Now, this is the problem in that part. Now, I'm going to give you the next charge that he was given that may have some bearing. As a sworn officer in Atlanta, you have a duty to provide medical attention in an expedient fashion. So he was charged with not doing so. Right now, that may also be now the argument will be to that is that I think the not Ralph, the other officer went to get from the car something medical to help him. Right, so it took a minute for them to come back with that. You'll see on the video where he runs back over to one of the police cars, but he didn't come back for like a minute or so. Right, and when he came back, that's when they began to do something to him. Right, so I don't know how that will play out in court, but again, my whole thing is just don't add no extra. And right there, you add extra saying that he didn't call it in for 2 minutes. That it was not 2 minutes. If you watch that, okay, I have watched 1 hour and 48 minutes of this shooting. Okay, and I little video
Do you
footage.
think that the mayor of Atlanta moved too fast in
Absolutely.
firing these officers prior to what's being revealed with the video?
Absolutely, but she did that to make sure that there wasn't going to be any outlandish rioting. That's what that was about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she did do that, and then she didn't want to, and I think that was really good for her to, one, keep the violence down and the rioting down, and 2, actually, taking a truly direct action to the action. And I applaud her for that as well. Also, one of the things that she got was backlash. She had a wave of police officers calling in sick. She also had big problems with the actual prosecutor to bring the charges. She actually had to push him to bring charges. And she has to deal with that issue of qualified immunity. So, no, I think she was right. Because you look at it, you look at all the escalating points where he did not, it was no need to actually shoot him, especially, a police officer who's trained in doing long distance running. He could have just chased him or ran him down. Or he could have waited. He did not have to throw 3 shots. And then you look at, as we talked about, that 2-minute time lapse of medical attention. Now, I saw 4 different versions on 3 different news fronts. And every person that they had, professional police officers and analysts, all said the exact same thing. That this was hypervigilance, and this was a situation that was done upon a black man that they would not normally do with a white guy. They would have simply called an Uber for him.
So they may have,
sleep it off.
right. So and I want to move on to the next subject, but I don't think that I don't know that we should say simply, if a white guy broke the law, the police wouldn't treat him the same way they would treat a black man breaking the law, right? If you broke the law, you broke the law, right? And if you given a police officer an opportunity to treat you in the harshest way possible because you broke the law, that's on you. Right, if you didn't break the law and the police officer treated you, that's one thing. But to break the law and say, "Well, I broke it, but you wouldn't have done that to me if I were white," no, you don't break the law, right? Is how I look at it. And not to say that I don't agree that a white person might get different treatment. I'm simply saying, when you break the law, expect to be expect the police officers to enforce the fact that you broke the law.
But the problem is you haven't been informed of it, though. And I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit. Just understand that the failure of the police officer
we covered that already.
He broke the law.
Right, we covered
becomes
that.
the problem.
Right, we covered that.
Because now you're just defending. Remember, you're not a cop.
Right.
Just because you got a police uniform on, don't mean you can do anything you want to do to me.
No.
Right,
But
just because you're
that's
right. So understand.
but outside,
this is
look,
Rashard's
but I don't care.
defense.
Look, but I don't
His
care.
defense is,
Listen, but we
you
covered.
can't put no handcuffs on me.
But we.
Well,
right,
and there is another defense too.
Listen, guys.
Don't over exaggerate it.
Right. No matter what you look, no matter what occurred, you don't grab an officer's sidearm. You don't do
Really?
that.
I'm with you.
You don't
I'm
do
with
that.
you. I'm with you.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying?
I-
You don't do that. I don't care how offended you might be at what that officer did to
No,
you.
Rashard Brooks had another reason for wanting to flee that situation.
Well,
But we don't,
whatever that
because
is.
we're not him, so we can't speculate.
Yeah.
No, well, I was in that situation. He was on parole.
Yeah.
But we don't want to
Well,
speculate.
yeah, I'm not. But all I'm saying to you is this: when you go to grab and are successful at grabbing a sidearm of a police officer, expect a can of whoop ass to be opened up. That's all I'm saying. Like, you gotta expect that. So anyway, what else we got on deck, Diane?
Okay, well, one more thing, Eric.
No, one more thing. Vincent, enough, because you make it go too long. And you keep repeating the same thing, and it becomes redundant. You lose people's attention and keep going over the same thing. Did you see the thing when we talked about Aunt Jemima yesterday? Now the UK firms are talking about that they're going to pledge payments towards slavery links.
What's going on? That's what I asked on the opening of the show. What the hell is going on? They changing Uncle Ben on the box of rice. Did you see that?
Yep, he's gone. But also, corporations are now pledging to put into the Descendants of Slavery Reparation Fund, because Descendants of Slavery helped build a great deal of corporations.
What's going on?
It is that shift, that the winds of change, where people are tired of injustice, even though it does not directly affect them. They know that they had a hand to play in it by ignoring it.
Ain't nothing going on. All they doing is putting money, filtering money to another pot so they can make some interest off of that by saying they donated money towards this. Ain't nothing going on.
Well,
It's just more tax exemptions.
Exactly.
Well, also, and look at the good that this pot growing can do for descendants of slaves.
What
Not a damn thing.
who is
Not a-
in this pot and we're
Not a damn thing.
nothing?
Well, you know what? It won't do anything, Vince, because you don't have an organized system for it to do something in.
Okay, you think that people are going to blindly put their money in something that's
Yes.
unorganized?
Yes, they do it with the Urban League every year.
All the time.
Wait. I'm gonna answer your question,
Oh,
Vincent.
funny.
They do it every year with the Urban League. They do it every year with the NAACP. They did it with IYO. They did all these organizations.
Wait, but Urban League and the NAACP are organizations.
No, but
You
they
said- okay.
no. You said, dude, I think that they would. So they pour their money in, but there's no impact, right? So you look at these organizations that have been around. Urban League in Newark for 100 years, in the Fairmont Heights area. Go drive through Fairmont Heights, Newark. They've been there 100 years. Tell me what it looks like, Vincent. And you know what? You've got these corporations every year. They donate to the Urban League.
Okay,
Right.
so now these corporations are donating to the American descendants of slaves.
Okay,
And
and-
so wait for me to finish the statement. So you're saying that money cannot help some of these or underfunded programs?
Well, I'm going to answer your question. What they do, if you look at the current models that exist, right? The programs that they have are not intended to provide impact. They're intended to employ people, friends and family a lot of times, right? And then for that money, all these organizations have to do is fill those seats. So they run out, knock in the community, get people to come and sit in those chairs. Then they can tell these groups that donate money, right, or contribute based on grants or whatever, hey, we had 25 people in the class. That's the only requisite. Now those 25 people didn't learn a goddamn thing. They not empowered to do anything better in their lives. Right, the money was spent, salaries, and then when you look at these nonprofits, look at the money that comes in and look at what percentage goes towards salaries, right, and what percentage goes towards these other things. So yeah, there are people who are living high off the hog, but the community's not getting better at all. So to answer, to piggyback on Farrakhan's comment, not a damn thing is gonna happen.
Okay, so all right, now let's look at what you just said.
Yeah.
We know that happens. Now we also know that since we know that that's happening, and there's additional funding that could come to it, then why don't we now avoid that from happening?
Well, because, Vincent, so here, I'll give you another example, and then I'll answer the question. So, in one instance, and you know what, and I am biased. I love my brother. But I think he's also doing a great job. And if he wasn't, I would say he wasn't. But he single-handedly worked to build a tech center for the Urban League where they're teaching kids coding, right? He's gotten zero support from the politicians. Zero. When I tell you they had an opening at this beautiful Victorian that they were able to purchase on Littleton Avenue, and they sent invitations out to all of the elected officials. None of them showed up. You know why, Vincent? Because they can't figure out how to shove some money into their grubby freaking pockets. That's why they didn't show up, right? So now, wait a minute, let me finish. But Al Charlatan opened up a NAN center, and that center's empty. There's nothing going on there. But guess what? All the politicians show up there, and the money goes flowing through the NAN center. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So when we talked about structure, institutional, right? This is what's taking place. And so all of the people who are contributing to these nonprofits, they contribute based on an understanding of kickbacks, an understanding of nepotism, an understanding of all those other kinds of things, but not on impact, not on real, sustainable, transformational change. They don't do it like that. They never have. Never.
But see, that's the reason we have the Eric Dawson show, to hold their feet to the fire, to actually get people to engage.
Hey, Vincent, man,
in
I've been
real
holding their feet to the fire.
change.
Man, my fingers are cramped from holding their feet to the fire, and they got burns all on their ankles and their calluses, and their corns are burning
What
too.
companies were offering that pledge?
I don't have the list. But
The reason I ask, right, would it have not, since these are corporations, wouldn't it have been more prudent for them to say, you know what, we are now going to either create a share class in our corporation that is reserved specifically for ADOS, and anybody that gets that can prove, or whatever the standard be, that they are ADOS, can purchase this stock class of ours at a broker-free rate, or at a reduced cost, so that you can share in the success that of the company that your descendants or that your family.
Well, Farrakhan, I think Farrakhan, it's a wonderful.
Now there's some form of, like, because if let's just say Quaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it was Quaker, right, and you said that, now you're going to get some long-term wealth from it. Because now this class of Black America would be able to say, I can purchase this and get a level of income, continuous, from it, value and wealth.
Well, let's look at Farrakhan, and to answer your question, Farrakhan, I think that is a wonderful concept that you have done. However, there are two things wrong with that. One, we're not the people holding the money, and two, they're the ones who are making the concept and how they want to divide it. So, but other than that, it's a beautiful thing. However, three of the actual people that I know that are doing it is Magic Johnson, who has donated, LeBron James, and Michael
So
Jordan.
Black people got to donate. So you're saying that the Black people got to donate the money for the crimes that, or for the gains that wealthy white corporations got?
No, they are wealthy white corporations. I think two of them are European. I don't know the exact names, and I don't want to give out false information. But I do know of the Black people or the Black corporations that have done it too. So, and I said those. But I mean, if you give me some time tomorrow, I'll have a list for you. But the other thing is that if they are therefore organizing and they're doing something positive, my perspective, or they're doing something towards it, my perspective is to take it at the face value and the intent of what you're doing. That this is an opportunity to fund something that can make transformative change, rather than looking at and understanding that in the past we have had these incidents. I mean, we have had, as he calls them, Al Sharpton and some other people who are community activists come there, take a look at it, do a dog and pony show, and it does nothing. And we do understand that. Where we can also look at, this is funding that can help his brother, who is doing something to bring about a transformative change, like teaching children coding. See, we have to, understand that, yes, things have happened, and bad things do happen, but we also have that knowledge of it, and that's the ability for us to stay away from it and move to ones that are making change. That's the only way that we're going to get some transformative change happening in our society and our descendants of slaves. That is the only way that we're going to get people to acquire wealth within the black generations. That's the only way that we're going to actually get, hold their feet to the fire, get these politicians who have been doing nothing to get out of office. That is the only way that we're going to build our cities and our schools.
It's funny that you mentioned that about politicians being able to get them out the way so we can get people in place. I got my ballot. I didn't see your name on there, Benson.
No, I'm not in the primaries. I'm in the general. Yes, so look for me. I'm running independent.
Well, I already took my ballot. I voted for Larry Ham.
Okay, good. But in the general election, I will start talking about, gaining some support, some motivation, and actually putting together a platform and policy that once I am elected, I'm sure that everybody who listens to the show...
That? If you get elected, Vince, can you please change that? Because as a person who prefers to be independent, as far as my political affiliation, I'm bothered by the fact that I cannot vote in either of the primaries unless I subscribe to
one of the major parties.
And I didn't know that until I think it was the last presidential election or a primary that I went to vote, and they told me I couldn't. Right, and I was like, why? And they said because you're not registered as a Democrat, right, at that time. And I was like, well, I'm an independent. I should be able to go anywhere I want. And then I found out, it was this whole little process. I think that that's wrong. I think that that's something that we should be changing. I want to see why that.
Why Americana is set up that way? It's set up that way because they want the party to get together and decide on from the primary who we want to represent us under that political party. That's why other parties are not allowed to vote during the primaries outside of what they have elected to be designated as. That's the purpose of that. So it will never be changed.
Well, see, the other thing that can happen, Farrakhan, is you, looking at the way that you're looking at it, you could actually have Republicans come out and vote in a primary and vote for a Democrat that they know would lose in a general, right? So if they wanted to, kind of stack the deck.
This is their, right. It's their, I understood, I thought about it, what was the reason why these fractions did it the way they did it. They were protecting their personal interests as a party.
Correct.
But as a citizen, right, this was my position. As a citizen and an independent in thought, I want to see the best of what I view a Democrat go against the best of what I view as a Republican. And then I'm going to make my decisions based on that in the general. So for me, I want to be able to vote in both. I want to be able to say, hey, I've heard 6 Republicans, right, who want to get me to be a Republican. I don't particularly yet say I want to be a Republican or Democrat, but I would like to see this guy here, who's my favorite Republican, go against the Democrat that I see here. And I want to be able to vote both and then see them go. And I think that's how it should be. I think that that's democracy.
No, that's not how democracy is set up. It's set up specifically like that.
Right. It's not set up that way, but I believe that that's democracy.
But if you wanted it to be that way, then the way you're talking would be to eliminate all parties altogether. And then everybody can vote freely whoever they want, and there would be no specific party designation. That's what you're doing.
Correct. Basically, and that's been the bane of this show since it's been inception. Right? The fact that we've been fighting party politics. So maybe that's what I'm really getting at. That we should only have an open system. Maybe party politics is the problem. That's what this show is essentially about. It's part of the cause of this, of this show. right? It's about breaking down the political system and structure that keeps us in the position we're in.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be the same as if it's the girls against the boys. You know, there's always going to be a separation of choices, and people who want this issue is going to go to this side, and people who want that issue is going to go to the other side, and they're going to create a party or an allegiance or a union or whatever you want to call it. That's how it happens, and that's why it's set up that way.
She is correct. And it gives them an opportunity to weed out the weak candidates, and it's supposed to be designed that you build strength in your party so that that particular party could win. Because at that point, when they said that the Republicans were the right wing, they meant that the Republicans were the Bible-toting, scripture-quoting people who always voted for morals versus the Democrats that always voted for money. Now, it has changed so much to the point where that partisan politics of getting these people in their coalitions, and they become a juggernaut. They become so huge that the little guy who's looking to do what's fundamentally right is generally shouted out. Just like our good angels are always shouted out by the bad ones, are causing us to vote for people because they are so popular. And that's what kills our democracy now. So, yes, I applaud people who want to run independent because it gives them an opportunity to have a voice. Yes, I applaud people who want to run independent because it gives them an opportunity to fight the machine, which has been which has led us down this path that we're in right now. Yes, I applaud people who want to stand up against all odds, against these juggernauts, because we need somebody with enough intestinal fortitude to hold their feet to the fire and make America accountable for their actions. Okay, I'm going to drop the mic.
Thank you. New Jersey lawmakers are voting today at 11 o'clock. In 1 minute, they're going to start their voting on a bill, 2 different bills to decriminalize weed. One bill they're stating is that one is to decriminalize weed and curb arrests that are disproportionately impacting Black people. The first one is to seek and replace arrests for possessing up to 2 ounces of weed with a civil fine of $50, and also lessening jail time and fines for possession of larger amounts of pot on a sliding scale. That's the first one. The second one, they want to, of course, decriminalize the bill. But they said that because it did not go, what they wanted to do was put it on the ballot for November, which is supposed to go on for us to vote on as to whether or not we want to make it legal. What are your thoughts, Eric?
Whether it should be legal? Say that one more time.
Was you sleep?
No.
All right, guys, on that note, I got to go. I love you all. It's been great, and you've all given me enough food for thought. I've got a virtual court session now about a traffic ticket. So,
I was going to ask if you grabbed an officer's taser.
Well, I'm not on parole or probation, so there's no need for me to fight for my freedom. But, but like I said, I don't approve of what he did, but I do understand, because people who are on parole and probation have very little power, and they were against police officers who recently have shown that they are all powerful. And anybody who gets popped for a parole violation because a cop makes something up, they now ruin their lives, and everything that they had scratched to build is now ended. That part of our criminal justice system has to change.
Yeah.
All right. God bless you all.
God bless
See you tomorrow.
Vincent. So repeat the question for me again, Diane. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So today they're voting on decriminalizing the weed.
Yeah.
They state that what they wanted to do in the first bill is to seek to replace arrests for anybody possessing up to 2 ounces of weed with a civil fine of $50, and also lessening jail time and fines for possession of larger amounts of pot on a sliding scale. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, I think that attacking the whole marijuana thing, I'm concerned that they're not addressing the the some of the real core issues, right? What are they decriminalize? What are they doing about expunging records?
Nothing.
Right. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Hey guys! I just read an article yesterday. I posted it. It's from December, where they said that expungement was supposed to be part of this. That they were going to start. So I posted it. Something Phil Murphy had already passed.
Right. No, it did not. So Senator Ron Rice was fighting for that, and that's why he pulled back his vote and said he wouldn't support this. It was until what you just said, Farrakhan, about the expungements, because we were pushing for that as well, and we also had Assemblywoman Brittany Timberlake come on and talk about it. We've had Assemblyman Jamel Holly come on and talk about it, but that was the main thing, that we needed that to be expunged, because we also talked about the governor could do that with his pen and do that immediately. That doesn't have to be something that they have to vote on and submit as a bill. But these, what they're talking about now is no. It does not include either of the two of expungement. It is simply decriminalizing it, turning it into a $50 fine, and then if you're found with anything over the 2 ounces, to state that on a sliding scale is how they would determine your jail time, and lessening what it would normally be now. But none of this is mentioning anything about expungements at all. So,
okay, matter of fact, the expungement part, I'm sorry, it was my mistake. The expungement part was supposed to be part of the voting rights that Phil Murphy signed back in for convicted felons, right? That if you were a convicted felon, you now had the right to vote back in New Jersey. I guess even while on parole, I guess is how I understood the article, right? And that was supposed to somehow slide in the clean state of expungement process of what they were going to do. But I don't know if they did it. Apparently, obviously, they haven't. If it's still not, so.
They didn't do that either. They were talking about that, and then you had COVID-19, and then you had these protests, and now they're sliding right back to what Sweeney wanted to do anyway, is decriminalize it, but he did not also, he was another one that was pushing back on the expungements.
See, so this shows you guys, this idea of repairing, of truly making right the abusive wrongs that have been committed against marginalized people, Black Americans in particular.
But Eric, that's not what this law is for.
Why
this law is to protect white kids that get caught with recreational marijuana.
No, I understand.
Right, but also, even with that, Farrakhan, just 2 weeks ago, they just opened up a 6th marijuana dispensary here in New Jersey.
Right. So I understand what the law is going to do. But you have, right now, Farrakhan, you have Black electeds, and you have Blacks who work within these, what do they call them, justice reform organizations, right, who are not telling the truth about what's happening. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So
yes.
Yeah. So I understand what the law is going to do, but people are being hoodwinked to believe that somehow they're trying to right the injustices that were enacted on marginalized and in particular Black Americans, and that's not the case.
But that's because we don't push back and tell them what we want. We let them tell us what they're going to do. We never come to the table and say, this is what we demand and this is what we want. Even when you're out there, and they were out there protesting and marching, they want you to stop.
But what do I say all the time? I say we're conditioned to settle for less, but we always want more as long as somebody else is going to fight for it.
Well, again, that's because they're using us as the poster child, right? See, it's not our bill. So it's not I don't want to say it's not for us to fight what we want in it, right? It's not ours. It was never ours. It was for again. It's for them because remember when this first discussion really jumped off, I remember I had looked up some things and I spoke about it on the show, and I said out of the 2 million American citizens, either one incarcerated or involved with the penal system in this country, only 20,000 of them, 20,000 out of 2 million. That's like 1%. Okay, have any are marijuana related? Right, that was the number. Right, out of the 2 million in the system, only 1% are marijuana related cases. It is not that significant. Right, this was about economic relief for white kids who get caught up and they don't want the stain on their legal history, and they don't want to have to deal with it financially. And that was it, right? It has never been about Black America and fixing anything that the criminal justice system does to it, because the criminal justice system really doesn't go after marijuana like that in the first place. It's just gain. 1% of the people involved in the judicial system in the United States of America are involved in it because of marijuana. 1%. That's it. It shouldn't even be a discussion.
Yeah, it shouldn't be, but like everything else, if it doesn't directly affect the person who's writing the law, they don't care about that. It doesn't matter to them. They talked about reparations when it was good for them in their campaign. When we stopped talking about it, they stopped talking about it and they moved on to the next hot topic. But we allowed that to happen. We allowed them to say we're going to come together and create a study. We don't need a study. We know what the repercussions of what slavery has done for generations. So we let the ball drop, and they just keep doing what they want. Politicians just keep going on the way they want to go on.
Hey, Diane, I like the term "we let the ball drop," but they ain't never passed us the ball. We ain't let it drop. We ain't never. We
ain't never had a ball.
I don't know if we playing in the same game.
Yo, wait, yeah, you're like Keyshawn Johnson, right? Throw me the damn ball.
Yeah, basically, we ain't had the ball, so we ain't let the ball drop. Because black folks with a ball, we do pretty damn good. We ain't had that ball yet, right? So, and yeah, that might be racist and or bigoted. I don't know what I just said. That might be a really horrible sounding thing to somebody, but yo, we pretty damn good with a ball, right? And when we get the ball, we hit it, we shoot it, we catch it, right? So obviously, they ain't throwing it our way yet.
Nah, we ain't getting that ball.
Well, then the next thing is the Black law enforcement group here in New Jersey says that they've been excluded from the New Jersey AG's meeting regarding police reforms.
Right, of course they have been. And
Boy, what are you about to say? Because they're not supposed to be in it either.
No, but I mean, come on. I mean, what? Why should they be there? What work have they? See, go back to what Robert Taylor said a couple days ago on the show, right? He said, "We'll be respected by the work you do." By the work you do. So they ain't did shit or done shit or but they haven't. They haven't, right? And so now simply because, they want to hang 10 on a black wave now and they want to ride it to the shore. And they expect because of that they should be in a room. No, what work? Show me your body of work. Show me the impact. See, that's what gets you in the room. Right? But you know why they didn't put them in a room? Because they have no respect for them because they've done nothing.
So the Attorney General, Grewal, stated that he just released plans to revise the New Jersey's use of force policy in order that all law enforcement agencies are to publicly name officers who were fired, demoted, or suspended for more than 5 days due to disciplinary reasons. He states that the measures will come after weeks of coast-to-coast protests against police brutality. So I don't know exactly. Let me see if they actually give you what the revisions of what he's looking to do. But that's just one thing of calling out the officers. So what'll happen is they won't suspend them for 5 days. They'll suspend them for 48 hours.
So, but here's the question I have again, right? So you appoint this guy, Attorney General, top law enforcement official in New Jersey. based on some qualifications that you saw, some things that he's done that impressed you. He didn't understand what the culture of, right, with the culture, the structure of the police department and the relationship, the abusive, dysfunctional relationship that the police department has with residents, Black Americans in particular. And so,
why would he? The governor Murphy himself said he needs us for his votes. He didn't say he was there to protect us.
right?
He just votes.
Nope, I understand that, but I'm saying, so. See, my thing is this, Diane. If it'd be one thing if he had all these proposals out already and people had kicked them down, beaten them down, and kind of through political pressure said, we're not gonna do what it is you want to do, but put the proposal out there. But he didn't put any proposal out there that said anything. So my question to the Attorney General is, did you know this before?
Of course not. So what?
No, I think he knew. But see, I disagree. I think he knew. But much like most of the political figures now, they just want to ride this emotional wave, right? They want to get a win. It's not a win for us. It's a win for them. They want to get a win. So they want to say, see, I'm on your side. I'm on your side, right? But where were you before? So now you want to be on my side, but where were you before? I didn't see you. All this stuff has been going on. I didn't see you. I didn't hear from you. But now you want to be on my side because it is, it's as Raz said when he was talking about the water, right? He said, because it's sexy now. That's why you want to be on my side.
It's sexy. So what he said is he's going to launch.
Exactly. Being black is sexy now.
He said what he's going to do is he's soon to launch a statewide database of police use of force, creating a licensing system for police officers amid national protests, of course, in the police violence. He states that he will update the police use of force policy for the first time in over 20 years. He's creating a pilot program for crisis intervention, which is training for New Jersey officers, and to establish a new team within the State Division of Civil Rights to respond to police shootings and other problems. Now, the thing about this is, I'll say maybe back in October, Assemblywoman Brittany Timberlake came on and she spoke about a bill that was getting passed in the state of New Jersey. And I have to go back to see if they actually voted to pass it in regards to police officers having an outside agency to investigate them. So they shouldn't be investigated by their immediate internal affairs department. Like, so for instance, if something happened with the Union County officers or county sheriff, it should be an outside agency outside of the Union County area that should be investigating them. Because what they found before is that they're investigating themselves, which was, just backwards. Like, you can't investigate yourself and think that they're going to come up because of this blue wall and come out and tell you that their fellow officer did something that was incorrect.
Look, how do we say it, Diane? They should have been done, did that. They should have been done,
in his case, he probably said, I've been fighting so much political corruption and going after these different mayors and council people, I didn't have time to deal with this. I don't have enough hands on deck. I don't know. You would think with the money that they get paid from our tax dollars, they should have their hands in everything, so there shouldn't be all these different fires. Of course, so here he goes again. The prosecutor's now examining the police director's decision down in the Trenton riot. So down in Trenton yesterday, they were down there setting police cars on fire.
Now, look, the whole thing is there's no organization to it, right? It's unraveling. People are trying to co-opt it. A lot of them have already co-opted this movement, if you want to call it that. Nobody really wants to, create any change. It's all an illusion. That's what it is. So, look, what we're gonna do? What we're gonna do? So now you got, Uncle Ben coming off a box, Aunt Jemima coming off a box. You got some people who are kicking some money to some organizations, but they're gonna skim money off the top of it.
So how do these people? So now that they're taking the black faces off of these boxes that are now have suits on, and they dress a little better, and their maid outfits have been updated. How are they going to feel when they start putting white people in these boxes? Because they ain't going to just take the box off. They're going to turn around and do something different. What are people going to say then?
Well, yeah, that's interesting. I wonder what they're going to put. Are they going to keep it Uncle Ben's? Are they going to change the name of the pancake mix in the because you have the they were talking about the syrup, but you got the pancake mix too, right? Are they going to change the name of it? I don't know.
The real question is, what does it even matter?
You know what? Don't change the formulation. Look, just don't change the formulation, because I like the buttermilk complete.
The consistency. It doesn't matter, Farrakhan. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, right. And I think it's, if anything, black folks should stand up about that. Black folks should be, women we say, you know what? That's the dumbest thing. I don't care nothing about who's on the box.
But they do. But they do care, Farrakhan. See, because you know why they care? Because there's no work. It doesn't require any work. So they can have this fake outrage about it, right?
Fake outrage.
They can have this fake outrage about it. They can go to their Twitter and their Facebook and their IG accounts, and they can do, but no real work, right? So now you distract them, give them something to do, make them feel like they're part of the movement. Yeah, we did that. I went there and I shared that meme, but nothing changes. So no, they're not gonna speak out about it. They need busy work. That's what this is. This is busy work.
And all they're doing is pacifying people. They're pacifying people to make them think that they're really doing something, when in essence, behind the scenes, they're not doing anything. They haven't said that we're going to hire more black executives. But you know what I have seen lately? More panels and conversations with white people, non-black people, talking about black issues.
Well, I said that to you yesterday, though, right? I said, look across the TV. It is astonishing. And here's the thing. I said this yesterday. Stop talking, white people. Stop talking about black issues. Talk about your issues. Talk about your white privilege and how you got it. Talk about that. Right? See, if you spent the time talking about that and dismantling that, you wouldn't have time to do this. But real stuff would be getting done. But you sitting there guarding your white privilege, right? Guarding your status, and then playing a little violin for me and mine is insulting. Don't do that. Just deal with your white. Say, listen, I'm a white person. I bask in white privilege, at your expense. Say that, because that's the truth, right? But you want to bask in your white privilege, and you want to talk about how I'm living in the shitter.
Well, that's because white privilege is worth so much.
Yes, no, I understand.
It's worth too much to get rid of it, right? I think, I got you. But if we think about it, white privilege is very valuable, right? White privilege, it's their greatest wealth. Because as we know, 99% of even white people don't have any real wealth, right? That the wealth and the power is to 1%, right? So white people are struggling, in a different type of way, right? But they're struggling too, right? They're struggling amongst white people. So their white privilege is their greatest wealth. It's the thing that gets them through. It's the thing that will get them the extra point on the credit. It's the thing that will get them the one more check box on a mortgage or financing or a job or education or whatever it is they need. That's a hell of a wealth. right? And that's what you're really telling them to give up, and they ain't giving that up, right? And that's why I don't care how good.
Well, wait a minute. But no. I'm not asking them to give it up. See, I'm not. I really am not. I want you. Somebody posted this. Use your white privilege. Use it. Use your white privilege to tear this construct down. See, I don't want you to give it up. It is powerful, Farrakhan, but they can use it. But see, that's my point, though, right?
But the construct is white privilege.
No.
I think that I got you, but don't you think that the construct itself that's really what you're trying to tear down? You're trying to tear down white privilege.
Right.
That is the construct. So when you say use your white privilege to tear down white privilege,
right?
They're looking at you saying he done smoked too much of that good weed.
The same way. Listen. The same way you infiltrate, or they've infiltrated various other institutions in order to tear them down, right? We can't infiltrate that, but white people can, right? Go in there with your white privilege. You got your membership card. Go in. See, they got a moat. I can't go in there, Farrakhan. They got a moat with big alligators. Then beyond the moat, they got this big wrought iron fence. Then they got some guards. Then they got some tanks. And I can't get through those gates. But Fred can. So go ahead, Fred. Go walk, they're going to lower the bridge so you can walk across the moat. They're going to do all that stuff, right? That is the white privilege. So go ahead. And then once you get in there, then implode it. That's what you can do for me. But don't sit there with a violin talking about how bad I got it. Don't do that. Use your white privilege to tear it down.
So going back to Aunt Jemima, they do plan to change
Aunt
the
Jemima
name.
what?
The
I thought we were
brand
playing the
of the
dozens.
Circus Pancake Mix will change the name and the image on Quaker's Oats. That's what they stated. So don't be surprised if you see a whole bunch of white people and kids on there next.
No, you know what they'll probably do? They will probably have some biracial people on it. That's
you mean to tell me they gonna put the curly kid on?
Who?
You think they'll be real people or drawn people, like characters?
No. Just like they did, just like Cheerios did. Remember that Cheerios?
Oh, that was the worst. That Cheerios commercial.
Yeah, but that's what they're gonna. That's where my dollar is. That's what they're gonna. They look. For them, it's cause marketing. Let us be clear what it is for them. It's cause marketing, right? So there's an issue out there, a social issue out there, and they want to say, hey, listen, we're sensitive to this. We hear you. We understand it. And so, yes, they're gonna redo their packaging. They're gonna redo their image around this as a piece of cause marketing. And I think that they may go. They may actually put a Hispanic on the pancake box.
Wow.
They may put a Hispanic on the pancake box.
Went over a new
yes.
A new demographic.
And you know what? We will celebrate that Aunt Jemima's gone.
And have benefited nothing from it.
And got nothing. Got absolutely nothing. Nothing changed. You'll hear another person get put in a chokehold. You'll hear some more black people get shot. Aunt Jemima's off the pancake box, off the syrup thing. They're going to reconfigure the Miss Butterworth's bottle too. They're going to do that too, right? And nothing's going to change. We're still going to go, look, whether they change that bottle or not, we're still going to go buy Aunt Jemima's syrup.
Or Mrs. Butterworth. Now, what they going to do with Miss Butterworth? It's already shaped like a black woman. What you going to do? Take it away and make it flattened and square? Is she next? Miss Butterworth is next.
Hey, listen, they're coming for everything now. You know what? They're coming for everything but the right things. But the right things. See, I keep saying, you want to change this stuff? Come for the books in the schools. Come for those. Let me
Well, that
know.
would-
You know, I want them to let me know when they come for those, because I'll be there with them. But unless you're doing that, the rest of the stuff doesn't say. See, because you take Aunt Jemima off the pancake box, but she's still in the history book.
Yeah.
But for how long?
Oh, she is.
And that's the problem. See, once you start taking it out, out of our sight, only takes a generation or two to wipe it out of the history books. And that's the dangerous thing that we as Black Americans, ADOS, whatever you want to prescribe to, if we allow them to take it from our sight, then we don't have the right now to bring it up anymore. And that's what's going to happen. And I think that's probably their genius plan, right? Is to say, you know what? If we take away enough of these images, they can't keep talking about it. And that's the thing. And we are not preserving that ourselves. I don't have a problem with Aunt Jemima, and I don't know anybody that really did, right? Except for the I don't even know what class of people to call them, just the stupid class, as far as I'm concerned. People who jump on causes because somebody else told them to jump on the cause, not because it was really a cause. Aunt Jemima, even the name, like, I don't even think of it in terms of racially, but I think of it in terms of some good soup. I'm sure, right? That's it. Like, it tastes good. I'm going to eat it, right? And that's it. I don't care, what character you want to put up there. Excuse me. But I don't get damn, hold on, I gotta pause. Y'all talk for a second. I'm joking.
Okay. Yeah. To expand on what Farrakhan is saying, I could care less what the name of it is. If they change the ingredients and it tastes different, then that's when I'm going to break away and go somewhere else. So, but I like Mrs. Butterworth too because it's more buttery anyway. But to each their own. Go figure. I don't know. What else you got, Eric?
I got nothing, Diane.
What you mean you got nothing? I was throwing it back to you because I was giving you an opportunity to throw some stuff in there.
I got nothing. I'm telling you, I thought that I was going to have a whole 2 hours. I am wiped out. Like, literally.
I do it.
Can you see
I
it?
do it.
Like, literally, guys, I came out like gangbusters, but I'm wiped out again. I don't know.
Because you ain't eat enough breakfast. So Costco's is out that they're going to be bringing back their food samples in the stores, that they're going to be relaxing their coronavirus policies. But people want to know, is that going to be safe enough for them to do?
I'm sorry, Diane. There is something to talk about with that. I don't know about.
Oh, wait a minute. We got a call. Let's see. Let's see if this is a call.
Go ahead.
Hold
Answer.
Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Che Coulter.
Good morning, Diane. How you doing? I'm calling in from Houston, Texas.
Uh-oh.
And
Oh,
my
Lord, down in Houston.
Please send prayers to my family in your free time. My dad is fighting for his life. But I called on a different note that in reference to the Aunt Jemima, a lot of people, myself included, we are used to using that syrup, salt biscuits, and throw it up on some waffles. And all I can say is, my question was for Eric. Eric, from an advertising perspective and from a customer perspective, is this like another assault on the American public's intelligence that they're dealing with Aunt Jemima, but you still have the Washington Redskins? I mean, when you look at Las Vegas to New York, the Washington Redskins name is accepted throughout the entire sports world, and there are some deep historical events that are directly tied to that whole Redskin dynamic. They're really making this Aunt Jemima issue, the biscuit stopping thing, something that's going to be like some landmark change in the advertising world. Like, what are we to take from that? But thank you. I know it wasn't one of my normal political questions, but just came down here with the family, and just thank you for doing the show. You and Diane and Farrakhan and
Prayers for you and your family, brother. Prayers for you and your family.
Thank you, Farrakhan. Thank you. Yeah, he had a little heart attack yesterday morning, but just like Diane and Eric tell us, we don't know when we're going to have to deal with stuff with family. That's why the show is important. It keeps us all kind of going and balancing the test that life throws at us. Thank you, y'all.
Absolutely. Prayers to your family. Absolutely.
Y'all have a good day. But Eric, that's that question, man. How long are we going to waste on the biscuit stopping Sarah when we got the Washington Redskins? Formidable enterprise. Thank you, y'all. God bless.
Yeah, well, not only do we have the Washington Redskins, but what is the we've got a baseball team, right? And they do the tomahawk whatever thing, and they've got the I think pretty disparaging logo for whatever that the Cleveland Indians, isn't that it?
Yes,
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland Indians.
There we go. So, look, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, we got problems. We got problems, and we have not yet decided that we want tangible stuff, that we want real, concrete things. We are still like the child, like the infant who prefers to be distracted, right? I mean, think about Diane, your mom, right? Remember, when your kid was in the back crying or whatever, right? And you didn't want to give them whatever it was they wanted, and so you hung those, if they were in the car seat, you hung those little things across the car seat in front of them, and all of a sudden they are like, ooh, and then if they didn't, you start jingling them in front of them, right, to get them excited about it, and next thing you know, they forgot about the thing that they were crying about. That's us. Right. So right now, we're crying about something, but I tell you, give it another week or two, you're like, what were we crying about? I don't know, but look at this thing. This is so nice, isn't it? That's how we are. That's how we are. And we just have to mature. And so, to answer your question, Frank, I'm sorry. To answer your question, Jay, how long? I don't know, man. It's it's not going to happen in my lifetime, unfortunately.
Wow. Well, it won't happen in the Washington Redskins owner's lifetime, right? Ain't that what he said? He said, "Not as long as I'm alive, you won't be changing this team or that logo." Yeah. Right, simple and plain. That's what, I don't know how old he is, but I know that was his statement.
And people didn't push back to make it happen. And players didn't protest and say we're not going to play. They didn't do any of those things. So when you own certain companies and organizations, you have so much money, you do what you want to do. Because ain't nobody else going to stop you. Who's stopping you?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But to the corona thing that we was about to start in on, I saw something yesterday, and I just want to say, mask up, y'all, because this corona thing is about to probably double down, blow up. I was at a restaurant I went to pick up some food in a restaurant in Montclair where there's like open seating. I'm not going to put the name out there. I ain't trying to like disrespect them.
Maybe that's the place that Eric drove past and they was all out there drinking and stuff.
Well, you couldn't see it until you walked to the back. Anybody that knows you'll know which one. It's a Spanish-based restaurant. You got to walk into the back, and there's an open like courtyard in between the main building and the side building. That place off the chain last night. 50 people in that little section. If you know that section, it's little as hell. Every chair totally full. Not a single mask, not a single glove. The employees, mask half on their face and no gloves.
So right? You think about Costco's is talking about they're going to be giving their food samples, bringing that back. How do you feel about that? You think people are just...
I wear masks and gloves everywhere I go. And I never do food samples anyway, so that don't even matter.
Yeah, you think people are getting too lax, too fast, too soon? They think because they open it up, that means that we're safe and they're not doing sanitation the way they should continuously do? You think that's what it is?
Absolutely. It's what Eric has been saying, that you're going to have those that run and jump, and then you're going to have those that sort of wait to see, and then you're going to have those that are just going to be like, no. right? Now, me, I'm a just no guy. Like, if I went and picked up some food, I'm taking it home, putting it back in the oven. No, nothing touch my counters until it's wiped down, all of that, right? But you have some people who they just don't care. They're like, hey, I got a right to be outside in the open with no mask, and that's what they're doing. And I couldn't believe it. I was drugged because I couldn't believe how many people, and they had a line of people waiting. Right, and I was like, "Are y'all seriously sitting out here for this?"
Well,
I
told you
the
it was
worst part,
happening.
I literally watched the owner. I think he's the owner. He's either the owner or the manager. This guy was patting people on the back, right, and then with no gloves on, no mask on, and then walking over and patting the next guy on the back, rubbing them, shaking it, and I was like, "Oh God!" And I know the guy. He's sort of cool. Been there plenty of times, but I just looked at it, I was like, did he just walk over to one family at the table? He's talking and blah, 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 and then pats the little guy on the back and then walked over to another table and did the exact same thing. I'm like, man, it's going to be on come July. It's going to be ugly out here. There's no way around it. I can't believe, I didn't think people would just jump in like this. I thought people would have a little bit more sense, but they don't. It's dangerous.
No,
Okay.
it always has been, which is why, I mean, look, so remember when all the conspiracy theorists were talking about, well, look at how Sweden did it. They didn't have to shut everything down. Or look at how these other countries did it. They didn't have to shut everything down. And what we kept saying on the show is, we got to shut it down because you can't legislate stupid, right? And so... And so because of our democracy, as brilliant as it is, it's dangerous, right? Because we live among stupid people, and those people can impact us. And so these are some of the same people saying, I don't want to get a vaccine, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want. It was the same folks, the same community of folks who said, we don't want to get vaccinated. I'm talking about the Jewish community, right? And then they wind up infecting people, right? So they look and they lean back on their rights and say, I have a right to do this. And as Dr. Wright said, who was on the show a few months ago, he said, look, we need to think communally because we live together, right? But we pretend that we really don't, right? We think individualistically, believing that somehow, what I'm doing doesn't affect you, right? Mind your business. I ain't bothering you. No, you are bothering me. Put your goddamn mask up. Did I tell you, Diane, when Mr. Lee came to the house the other day, he had his mask down by his nose? I said, yo, man, can you pull your mask up? Right? You're offending me. Pull it up. And he did. There was no issue. But the point is, you are here to help me too, right? Your mask isn't just for you.
So we're gonna have to have these classes on what do you call it? Face masks, COVID-19. What do we call it? COVID-19 etiquette. Do we have to do that?
It's not gonna help though, Diane, because we are
Well, it's been legislated already, right? We have COVID-19 protocols that in public spaces of how we're supposed to do things, but people just aren't going to do it.
They're not.
Ignorance.
Well, you know what? Some of it is ignorance, Farrakhan, but some of it is just straight up defiance. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do me. I'm going to live my best life. Right?
Well, those people, you can just punch them in the face, they get too close to you. But when I say like the ignorance, I'm talking about the ones that got a face mask hanging on. Like I said, the guy in the restaurant yesterday that was patting everybody on the back, he had a face mask, but it was wrapped around one ear.
No, but he wasn't being ignorant. See, he has the mask. He has the mask because he knows that he's supposed to have a mask by law. He has it down because he doesn't give a damn. He doesn't have it down out of ignorance.
Okay.
He has it down because he doesn't care, right? But he can look and say, oh, I got a mask on.
Right. So, I don't know if you talked about this, Eric, but there was the article, and I don't know if you remember, Byron Allen, remember he had a lawsuit against Comcast?
Yes.
And what they're saying is Byron Allen's Comcast settlement a win, an L for Black America? Because, he was suing them because he had like a $20 billion lawsuit against them, alleging that Comcast refused to offer many of his television programs as part of their cable television offering. It ended up going all the way up to this U.S. Supreme Court, where they had a unanimous opinion and sided with Comcast over Byron Allen, ruling that Allen was initially pled and ultimately proved. He had to prove that it was about race, which he was not able to say that he suffered a loss or a legally under that legally protected right. So of course, so they won, but since then, Comcast has come back, and after losing the application, Comcast came back to try and do some type of agreement with Allen so that they could offer his television shows on Comcast. So do you think, and remember that the purpose of him fighting this was to keep from overturning, a long time ruling in the Supreme Court lawsuit in regards to, what did they call it? The Civil Rights Act of 1866, which provided a wide range of banning race discrimination.
Well, so they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. Now there's precedent, right? There's precedent now that says the bar is so high, right? And so it essentially destroyed the Civil Rights Act of 1866 by saying, so now I understand this because this went to the Supreme Court. Right. So if you're at work and you believe you're discriminated against, you now have the same bar that Byron Allen had, of proving that it was race related. That's right. See, and so now they've accomplished that, and so now that they've accomplished it, they've essentially beat him down. So, see, the corporation white supremacy is brilliant. So what they've done, Diane, is they've taken the big buck Negro, right, who dared to try to challenge him. They took him in the public square and they gave him 50 lashes and said, see, this is what happens when you try to challenge us. Now, after you do that, go clean yourself up and we're going to give you something.
And what they stated was there were tons of leaders in the black community that tried to attempt to get Allen not to move forward and battle Comcast. But, of course, they said he was stubbornly persistent to move forward with his lawsuit.
Yeah. Well, the challenge again was by him moving forward with the lawsuit, and so here was the issue, as I saw it. If you do this and you lose, we all lose, right? If you do it and you win, we all win. But the odds are that you're gonna lose. That we don't have enough to go in and fight this right now. So if you go in on your own and fight it, they're going to set a precedent that's going to impact all of us.
Yep. So
and that's what he did. So he went forward anyway, right? And so now, like I said, this precedent is here. So now, look, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, they're gonna reference this case. They're gonna say, Byron Allen versus Comcast, blah 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 blah. The court sided with yada 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 yada. You're just fired, or whatever the other issues are that you have at work. Yep, that's it. Before they didn't have that.
Allen, from the day forward, any African American or ethnic minority who, when attempting to enforce the Section 1981 of the Civil Rights Act of 1866, will be required to prove that the but-for reason for their denial of a contract was their ethnic background, no matter how egregious the otherwise discriminatory conduct they suffered may have been.
That's right.
In other words, thanks to Allen in the case, in order to receive enforcement under the Civil Rights Act 1866, racial discrimination suffered by plaintiff must rise to the level of being virtually the only cause for the denial of the contract or contractual rights, as opposed to one of the clauses for the denial.
So now, so again, the thing is, if you know you can't win, you have to pay attention to the damage you're going to cause by going out there in trying. So sometimes it is more prudent to look and say, you know what, I'm gonna hold, what do they say? Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run, right? And so Byron didn't have the cards. He didn't have the cards. You understand? He did not have the cards, and he went and played the hand anyway. So we're all screwed.
And it's just a matter of time. Now, my thing is, the thing is, once people bring this case up and they reference this, whatever what for them or against them, will the losing person be able to then go after Byron Allen and sue him for creating this precedent?
No, you can't sue him. I mean, he had a right to do what he did. He had a right to fight, for what he thought was, an egregious, attempt to, to destroy him because he's black, right? So he wanted to do that. But you had some brighter minds that were there saying, hey, Byron, I got it. But you know what? Maybe you're too emotionally attached to this thing and you're not paying attention to the bigger issue at hand, right? And there's a bigger play here. And if you walk into this, not only are you going to lose.
Hey, Eric.
Yep.
That's because it was never about black for him. And I admire Byron Allen. When I finally learned why Byron Allen was on TV so long, right? I had a whole new level of admiration for him. And but in the end, Byron Allen, and I respect why he chose the decision he did, is because he puts his own money to it. So because he had so much of his own self tied into it, he had no choice, right? He had no choice but to fight the fight because he had, $300 million of his money wrapped up in the business deal. So right there, he had a lot of television channels, there's 9, I believe, that were being refused or threatened to not be able to be on Comcast. So he had no choice. He couldn't sit back. But the thing is, he presented it to black America as though that this was a black thing and a civil rights thing.
Well, it was a black thing.
He used it as a black thing. Okay, it was his corporate money thing.
Right, right. What he did was he sold it.
He used it, and I understand. And he blew it, or you know what I'm saying. But he had, like you said, he had to take a shot. He had to because he has too much wrapped up in it. So I don't knock him for that. But at the same time, we have to be smart enough as black people to see what he was really doing, right? And that he jumped on the cause. We've known about, if I've known of Byron Allen since the 80s, okay? I ain't never known him to be on a black issue whatsoever, right? The first time he was on a black issue was this. So that should tell you right there what his true motivation was. Now, again, like I said, I admire him for his business acumen. The man is bad. I didn't know he did what he did. I used to be like, why is this corny guy on TV? Right? He's had a show continuously, one or more, on television for 30 years plus. Never could figure out why. But what I learned is that it's because he brought and he produced his show himself. So he would literally at night, those little whack Meet the Comedian things that he used to do on like Channel 5, what he was doing was he was buying commercial time. He bought the commercial time and produced his own show. I thought that was really cool when I learned that that's what he did. Because I was always like, who's giving him a show all the time? I love that. I respect that. But don't tell me you was doing it for the black cause. You was doing it because you got some money tied up.
No, he was doing it for himself. And what makes it more of a, what do you say, a slap in the face is that he fought for this. He lost. He created this precedent. And then Comcast turned around and said, let's work together. We'll put some of your shows on our channel. So he wins as an individual, but as a race, we fail.
Go ahead, Vincent.
And notice he ain't mentioned nothing, right? We've seen that news report, but he didn't go back on Hot 97, right, and break it down what he just did. Remember, he went on Hot 97 before he went to in front of the Supreme Court. Say, well, we lost in Supreme Court, but this is a deal that I managed to pull off because it was never really about us.
All right, we got 9 minutes. That's what you learned. We got 9 minutes. Vincent called back in, and we got another caller. Vincent, hold your thought. Go ahead, caller.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Darren. How y'all doing?
What's going on, Darren Martin?
Hey, how's everybody? Hey, listen, this is gonna be a quick comment. I got a bone to pick with brother Farrakhan and brother Eric. I love y'all both. Y'all know that. But y'all was off cold a couple of days ago.
Uh-oh.
When I saw that coach.
Pull my coattail, baby.
You guys,
Cracker has spoken.
yeah, you guys posted the Democrats that been in office for many years. I said, now wait a minute now. I know darn well Farrakhan and Eric know better than to be off cold that way and only show Democrats on one
No, that's
side,
our
not
coach, sir.
on the other side.
Oh, look at him. Look at him.
Come on, guys. Come on.
That's what I'm talking about. Hold their feet
Don't
to the
talk
fire,
over him.
brother.
Don't talk over him. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. So
Brother.
Darren. So here's the deal. Farrakhan will speak for himself. All I was trying to show was this, which is what Professor Eddie Claude says. Look, we got big issues here, and it's easy to blame it on Donald Trump. It's more difficult to take a look at what we've been complicit in. And what we've been complicit in is having, having Schumer there for 30-some years, having Feinstein there for 60 years, having Nancy Pelosi there for 33 years, having Maxine Waters there for 47 years. See, we gotta own that. See, so I'm not saying that Donald Trump doesn't have his issues and that we should have issues with him. I'm simply saying it's bigger than that, right? And it's even easy if you're a Democrat to blame Republicans. That's easy because then you don't have to take any responsibility for the fact that either you voted for the seat. When we on this show, Dan, and we've all done it, we stand up and raise our hand and say, yeah, we voted for Phil Murphy, we supported Phil Murphy, and I apologize, right? We do that. That's hard work to do. And then we go to try to correct our mistakes. If I would have just not talked about Phil Murphy and then spend my time talking about what Republicans are doing, then I think that I'm being disingenuous. So it wasn't about, for me, it wasn't about being off code. It was about saying, look, guys, enough with just beating up on the Republicans if you're a Democrat, right? Enough with just beating up on the Republicans. Let's look at what we need to do in our own house in terms of cleaning up. Because nobody's talking about that. They're all talking about getting rid of Trump. What about getting rid of Feinstein? What about getting rid of
Mitch
Schumer?
McConnell ain't never said he was for black folks. See, that's why you don't make up the mean concern about how long he's been in. Mitch McConnell don't talk about black people. He don't say I'm for blacks. So I to be on code or be off code, I'm dealing with the pointing out the Republicans. You got to find me a Republican that says he's trying to help black people.
I was one.
So Vince.
But you ain't been in office for 30 years.
That's true too. And there's
give me a Republican. Hold on. That's been in office for 30 years. I'll put it on blast.
Listen, and to what the brother is saying, there is a huge level of culpability because you are consistently talking about the Democrats and giving very little to our liar in chief, who has done a great deal of putting us in this situation. Yes, the Democrats that are there do have a level of blame with this as well. But we also have to put them all on blast.
Yes. But listen, but what I'm saying to you is this. Fine. Let's measure it. That guy's been there 3 years. How much time you want me to spend on him? She's been there 47 years. How much time should I spend on her? She's been there 60 years. How much time should I spend on her? You got Nancy Pelosi, the wealthiest congresswoman in Washington. She's been there talking about poor people, taking a knee with kente cloth. When should I start talking about her?
Okay, but let's look at Eric, and that's understandable. We understand the mitigating factors of why you're saying it. But the aggregated factors is that in his 3 years, he has done more damage than all of them put together in their combined years.
But see, we keep having this conversation, and what I'm saying to you is the racial wealth gap hasn't, tell me that it's gotten worse under him than it's been. Tell me that, see, you understand what I'm saying? When you start saying getting worse, then I need to go look at those data points. See,
I
when we
haven't
had
said any
Robert
word. I
Taylor,
said has
wait.
done divorce.
Let me finish, Vincent. When we had Robert Taylor on a couple of days ago, and he was talking about zero wealth by 2053, that's not Trump. When he was talking about an apartheid state within the next 30 years, that's not Trump. Do you think that Trump accelerated it? Then show me the data. Show me the data. Don't just say it. Show me the data where Trump accelerated that 2053. Because we were talking about 2050. That number was out there before Trump was elected.
This is the data that shows that Trump has accelerated it. Under his tenure, there have been more blacks dying under this virus, which we can say that he had.
Stop. Okay, wait a minute. Let's go point by point. Vincent, let's go point by point. Okay.
Well, I was going to give you the point.
No, but let's start with the blacks dying in the age of Corona. These underlying conditions that are causing them to die, these happened in these 3 years?
So what you're saying is
I asked you a very specific question. You're telling me that black folks didn't have heart disease, didn't have diabetes, didn't have any of those things until Donald Trump became president.
No, that's not
You're
what I'm
going to tell me that black people were not deficient in health care before Donald Trump.
No, that's not what I'm telling you.
Right.
Now, you want to know what I'm telling you?
Tell me what you're telling me.
Okay, see, what you're trying to say is that it's not the person who threw the rock that broke the window who is culpable of the actual act. You're saying that it's the people who gathered the rocks in front of the window that did it. They're the ones that had the responsibility.
I'm saying that the window was already broken. Listen, no, what I'm saying to you is this. The window was already broken. It was already broken. You're pretending that the window wasn't broken. I'm saying the window was broken.
No, I'm saying the window wasn't there. Thank you. Okay.
Window
we go.
It was broken. There ain't no rocks been thrown. This been happening so long that there wasn't no window. Black folks' door of poverty is wide open, and it's been wide open.
So black folks have been impoverished since as Malcolm X said, Plymouth Rock landed on us.
All right.
Now, thank you for making our point. Now,
we're at 12 o'clock.
That being aside, why can't we, if you're going to do it, if you are going to mention the Democrats who are culpable to the events that built up the 400 plus years of us being in this situation, then why not add to the point the person who actually
we do. Listen, we do. See, we do. But I think it's disproportionate. I think the way you do it is disproportionate. I do talk about Donald Trump, but I think that you don't. You tell me the last time, Vincent, we got to go. So we'll discuss this tomorrow. But I want to know when you talked about Nancy Pelosi. I want to know when you've talked about Maxine Waters. I want to know when you've talked about Fish Fry Clyburn. I want to know when you talk. So tomorrow, I'll give you until tomorrow to come to me when you've had, in the time that you've been a co-host on this show, where you have talked about any of them.
We don't have to have till tomorrow. 30 seconds. Every day you bring it up, Eric.
No, I bring it up. I bring it up. I want to know when you
foot on their neck.
Right. I want to know when you've had your foot on their neck. We'll discuss it tomorrow. But I want to know. I want
tomorrow, brothers. I'll join the conversation tomorrow because I got some more things to say.
All right. Oh, Darren. Listen.
Tune in tomorrow for the continual talk.
We're gonna have a full house. What you say, Diane?
Excuse me, Vincent. Just like a union rep to come in and get some shit started and bounce out. Well,
thank you. You know, we all have our little gifts. That happens to be mine.
Don't forget the book, When Affirmative Action Was Right by Ira Katz Nelson. Make sure you read it. We'll be reviewing it in July. Have a great day.
Have a great day, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
God bless everyone. God bless everyone. Stay safe. If it's God's will, we will all be here tomorrow to continue our growth and expansion.